My name is Emma Edmonds, and I live my life as a boy. My life started out normal, but when I left home, I changed my whole identity. My father wanted me to be a boy? Well, now I was one. By already living as a male, this made it easy for me to join the Civil War and take on many different identities. Living this way gave me a lot more opportunity for adventure than living as Emma. I was born in New Brunswick, Canada in 1841. Thankfully, I was sheltered growing up, but I also felt enslaved. My father, who was like a stern master of ceremonies, tried to marry me off when I was 16. I wasn't going to let him rule my life, so I ran away and got a job. Because I had been discovered, I cut my beautiful curly hair, wore men's clothes, and began my life as Frank Flint Thompson. I quickly crossed Canada's border and traveled to Flint, Michigan, which was 5 years before the Civil War. On April 12th, 1961, I was in a train station and saw a poster about the attack on Fort Sumter and how President Lincoln was looking for 75,000 men to enlist. I loved my new home, the United States, and I wanted to be a patriot because I abhorred slavery. But I didn't know how, so I took my question to the Throne of Grace and found an answer there. I enlisted and became a male nurse in Company F, 2nd Michigan Volunteer of the Infantry of the Army. Many soldiers exclaimed that I was tireless and fearless on the battlefield. I never imagined where my life would lead since leaving Canada. After a while, my company was assigned to McClellan's forces. For one of his best spies had been caught and killed, and they asked me, Frank Thompson, to replace him. For my first mission, I chose to disguise myself as a friendly free slave and use the name Cuff. To complete my look, I applied silver nitrate to make my skin dark, and I put on slave clothes. Because my hair was too long, I cut it and used a wig to hide it. My mission was to sneak into Yorktown and spy out the Confederate fortifications. Starting out at night, I quickly crossed rebel lines. In the morning, I followed a group of slaves, which were luckily heading into Yorktown. Once there, they all left to work, and I found myself wondering what to do. An officer spotted me and put me to work on the fortifications, which I was supposed to be spying on. It was exhausting pushing a heavy wheelbarrow full of dirt and gravel up an 8-foot ramp. By the end of the day, when the slaves were free to do whatever they wanted, I explored around counting the guns and troop size. And then I sketched out the different gun styles and layout, noting which ones were quicker guns. These were logs painted to look like guns and cannons from a distance. By the end of the day, my hands and wrists were so raw from getting dirt and gravel and pushing the wheelbarrow that I switched roles with a water boy. A couple days later, I finally found my chance to escape when I was to take food to the outer soldiers. I waited until night, but I was stopped by a sergeant who handed me a gun and told me to replace a soldier who had been shot at his lookout post. It then started raining, and I used it as cover to silently creep away from the rebel lines. The soldiers who were taking cover from the rain were hopefully unable to see me. It worked! In the morning, I successfully made it back to camp and reported everything that I had discovered to General McClellan. He was extremely pleased that I had been assigned to his forces. After my first mission, I successfully penetrated the rebel lines 10 more times, with various disguises. For one mission, I was a female Irish pie peddler named Bridget O'Shea. I returned with valuable information and a bloody arm because my horse, which I'd stolen, had bitten me. I was Cuff again for a different mission. I was also a Confederate soldier, switching sides back to the Union Army in the middle of a dangerous battle. Next, I was a Kentucky farm boy. Lastly, I was a black laundry woman, which allowed me to steal valuable papers from the Confederate officers' jackets. My spying ended in 1863 when I caught malaria, and fearing the military hospital would discover my true identity, I left my unit and went to a private hospital. Unfortunately, after my recovery, I saw a poster saying Private Frank Thompson was a deserter and was to be shot on sight, so I couldn't return to my unit. For the remainder of the war, I worked as a female nurse. Years after the war, my friends from my unit wrote letters to Congress telling them about my true identity and my brave service, and that Emma Edmonds and Frank Thompson were the same person. My missions were all worth it, and I was no longer considered a deserter. From being Emma Edmonds in Canada to being Frank Thompson, United States Civil War spy with many different disguises, God has taken my life in many different directions that I didn't think He would. While my many missions were dangerous and exciting, I was most proud of being a nurse during the Civil War, because I was working with soldiers and helping save their lives. I am the Edmonds and a true patriot.